That is a common complaint we hear with hot air systems. You know, you've got a furnace or an air conditioner with its blower pushing air into a main trunk like this. And then you have takeoffs that go to individual rooms with supply ducts like this. Now you hope that the first installer of that heating and cooling system actually did a calculation to determine what size trunks go to each room.
Obviously, bigger trunks to bigger rooms and smaller trunks to smaller rooms.
That's right. Well, oftentimes we see the same size supply trunk go into a small room as a large room, and that means you might overheat this room and underheat the other one.
An imbalance system.
Right, so we need some way to balance the system, and so at the least case, you can look at some of these registers that might have a register here that has a damper inside of it.
Yep.
As you close that off, what the complaint on these would be is that you might get a little whistle right here, and as you close it off, you start to hear it. But also, if you close it off too much, you start getting some back pressure down here, so you might have some duct leakage in the basement.
Okay, so this isn't the greatest damper, but we do want a damper.
A proper damper, and here's one of them right here. On the better systems, you'll see this. This is a takeoff coming off of the trunk right here, and it has the damper built right in right there.
Yep.
You can see the disc right there. And you can see on the side, there's a lever blade that tells you the direction of that damper. If you wanted to close this off to that smaller room, it would be right there, and then you would lock it in place.
Yep.
Okay, and that means less air would go over to that small room, which then would make more air go to the larger room.
Okay, so this damper is built in, and that's the way you'd really love to see it, but what if we don't have any dampers built in?
Well, they make a damper section like this. Okay, so here's an existing takeoff right here.
Yep.
Now, many systems in America use flexible supply duct, and flexible is pretty easy. You have to break that connection. You put your start piece right here.
Gotcha.
Here's our blade again, and you just reconnect it, and that's simple.
Okay.
But on these metal systems, it becomes a little more of a challenge. It's easy enough to cut the pipe, but then sometimes this ductwork is up inside the ceiling and it doesn't have any play, so you can sort of move it out of the way to make this connection.
Right.
So they make one of these. This is actually an adjustable start piece that will allow you to cut it and then bring that together.
Oh, that's pretty ingenious.
Now, if another way to do it is if you have a straight run of pipe, they make a blade, a damper blade like this. You can take a pair of aviation shears, okay, and come like this, and it removes a fair amount of material.
Yeah.
On the other side, you drill a hole right there. And now you can actually just drive that damper blade down through.
So this is really just the process of installing the blade only.
That's right.
Okay. It's always the fussy part is what's going to happen on the other side. There you
So
go.
now, once you've done that, you need to cut a piece of sheet metal right there to cover it over. And then you use zip screws and snug it up tight and then seal it up. And there's your lever and a little nut to lock it in place. And then once you do that, you've got a damper in place.
Well, that is pretty ingenious
It
too.
is. Now there's one more damper that's right here, which is a spring-loaded damper. If you've got access to the ductwork like this, you can actually cut a hole on each side, and now you drop that down and in.
So a lot of thought has actually gone into retrofitting dampers into these
It's
systems.
such a common complaint, this balancing issue, that it's very serious. And so now we have a damper.
All right, so it sounds like we got a couple ways to make these systems more comfortable.
Try to keep you in balance.